Hello everyone, I'm Michael Tucker, head instructor with Twithair Academy of Swordsmanship. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be looking at the Regenyei training sidesword. If you like this content and you want to stay up to date with the latest HEMA reviews, don't forget to like and subscribe. Before we dive in, I wanted to make it clear that Cult of Athena provided this sword for the purposes of a review, and if you like what you see, don't forget to check out the affiliate link in the description down below. Now, let's go over the factors I'll be considering for this review. First is fit and finish. How well is the sword constructed? Does it look nice? Does it feel nice? Handling, balance, weight, how does it feel when you're sparring with it? Durability. Can the sword handle more than one sparring bout? Safety. Can your opponent handle more than one sparring bout? Value. Is the price point reasonable for the quality and the features offered? Now look at this absolute unit of functionality. Let's start from the bottom. You can see that it has a scent stopper pommel. I think it's pretty similar, if not the exact same one that they put on their fetters. It has their standard Regenyei type black cord wrap. And to that, I do like the little accent part that they put on the top of the scent stopper, that little inlet. There's no real function to it, but I do think it looks really nice. The thing that differentiates this from an arming sword is this complex crossguard. And what I really like about this is that it's been twisted and set in place rather than welded, which allows it to be a little bit more durable. It is pretty Spartan when it comes to the add-ons to the particular basket, but again, it's solidly well constructed, and as everything that Regenyei does, they put functionality over form just about every time. And it really shines through, and not in a negative way. I think there's a very cohesive design language when it comes to this sword that I really appreciate. Now going down to the blade, is a bit stiff. I actually measured with my calipers because I couldn't quite tell if there was a distal taper, but there is about a 2mm drop from here, the part of the basket, all the way to the edge. So again, there's about a 2mm drop all the way down to the thinning part of the blade. And as I said, the blade is pretty stiff. I don't super love getting hit with this. It's not the worst, but it is a little bit stiffer than some of the other side swords I've used. So that's just something to note. Lastly, it has a small rounded tip. I actually prefer spatulated, but I understand why Regenyei goes this route. Overall, the fit and finish is nice, but a little basic. The focus is on a price point, and I really appreciate that, but they also made it very durable for that price point. And to that end, put the fit and finish pretty solidly at a 7 out of 10. For the handling, the performance, it's a bit heavy. Most of the weight is focused in the blade. I wish the pommel was maybe a little bit heavier, but you can really feel that everything is kind of above your hand. I wish there was a bit more agility to it. I prefer to have a little bit more dexterity when I'm using a side sword. Though I will say the guard was large enough for me to put 2 fingers into the guard, even with my thocks, which are pretty thick as far as 5-finger gloves go. Though I do need to call myself out, because I'm always gonna say I want a more nimble blade. I'm always gonna say I want a slightly lighter blade, and that's just my preferred style. That being said, again, the weight is shifted pretty far into the blade territory. Overall, it is a solid, serviceable, and while I wasn't jumping with joy using this thing, it got the job done. I give it a 7 out of 10. On the durability front, all of the training line from Regenyei are designed with the durability in mind. This sword has seen some clashes, and you can see that I'm totally comfortable sliding my finger up and down the blade. There's not a burr, there's not a nick, there's not a scratch. The only problem that I could possibly see is I do have some dings on the crossguard. The crossguard isn't tempered, at least I don't think it is tempered. I could be wrong on that one. And there certainly isn't a set with how stiff this blade is. That's also because I was aware that it was pretty stiff, so I didn't want to go thrusting too much and hurt anyone. Ultimately, I would say if the guard was tempered, and I'm certainly willing to go back on it if I'm wrong, but if the guard was tempered, I would give it a 10 out of 10, but because of that fact, I can only give it a 9. Now for safety. The blade is a bit heavy. The blade is a bit stiff. It does have a nice rolled tip that's pretty small and very easy to put a cap on. I really struggled between a 6 or a 7 in my mind, and the difference between those two is no one would be injured in regular use for the sword versus no one would be injured in occasional overeager hit use with the sword. I actually went back to review the sword after beginning writing this review to really kind of hone in on my thought pattern on this. And after doing so, I don't think anyone's going to be harmed by, again, regular use of this sword. I don't think it's going to be an occasional thing. It'll only be those overzealous, overeager hits with that heavier blade. I don't think it's too stiff or too heavy to risk injury. And because of that, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. This sword costs $309 in Cult of Athena. I think that is a great price. I think you're getting a solidly built sword that can follow you through your side sword journey in HEMA. Regenyei makes functionality and durability their calling card. I think they did a great job hitting that mark and making a reasonable price point as well. 8 out of 10. Overall, with an aggregate score of 7.6, the Regenyei Regenyei training side sword does what you want it to do. It is made for anyone who wants a side sword. If you specialize in it, there might be one that you would prefer, but you're certainly not going to dislike this one. It's a wonderful jack of all trades. It is beefy enough for it to survive the long haul in your HEMA journey. As you mature, you might find one that better fits your HEMA preferences, but this is a great place to start. Thank you for joining me for this review. If you're considering picking up a new HEMA sword, if there's a sword or a piece of equipment that you would like for me to review, please put in the comments down below. Now, go out there and try not to double. I definitely said that.